gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The time is now. The time is now. The time is now. I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. The time is now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mayhemic Thursday, the only place on YouTube where you will see organized chaos by a bunch of guys. Thank y'all for tuning in and joining us tonight, folks. Coffee first. Then speak. Good to see you. One of my amazing moderators, good friends, Dusty Country Road. Welcome in. Welcome in. My man, Dan H. Good to see you. Joel, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oops. I see you. I see you. I see you. Loving life. Family. How y'all doing? Pilgrim, good to see you, my brother. Welcome in. Tracy K. She said, I'm listening, working, and driving. Hi, everyone at once. Sorry, can't follow the chat. There you go. Keep your eyes on the road, preferably either at 9 or 3 or 10 and 2. And wherever you may be in the States, if the sun's out and the sun's shining, drop the window, throw out the left shoulder, use the right hand, and get your little lean on, Tracy, and enjoy the drive wherever you may be going. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Ed, good to see you, my brother, the Celtic grandma. Welcome in, welcome in. Much tested. How are you? Hope you had a great day. Folks, come on in, scoot over, tell somebody to scooch over, step over, be kind, be nice, and grab a seat because we got a star-studded evening tonight. And for everybody that I have not personally spoken to, I will get to you. Kevin Ramsey, how are you? Good to see you, my brother. Pibble Mama is in the building. Tara, how are you? Robert Bates, good to see you in the house, in the building. Folks, I'm not going to hold them up because these guys are amazing. Their time is valuable, and I can never corral them all at the same time because it's like herding cats. And if you don't believe me, you can ask the one, the only, the Livingston Man. But let me bring everybody up here. First, we got one of my amazing guys from the great state of Texas, the roaming prepper. How are you, sir? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Unmute your mic. There you go. All
Technology.
right. Now, my other two guys here, we got Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival and the Livingston Man himself. Folks,
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Mic check, am I here?
You're there.
Lovely.
You're now in Ohio officially.
It's me that you have to worry about because he's not here. So
You're
lucky. We're lucky that I'm here.
You're good.
You did
You're
good, boss. You did good. You've been
Thanks,
learning.
man.
So tonight's topic, folks, Bugout Bag Basic Essentials. Okay, basics. We're going to talk basics as basic it can be to you and your survival, and you know what to put in your bag because it's for you and your family to be safe, whether you're traveling, whether you literally have to bug out and your life depends on it, what goes in the bag. But before we get to the topic, roaming prepper, please introduce yourself, tell us about your channel, and
Oh,
we'll go from there.
we'll do that. Thanks for having me, man. It's always good to be on with all of these guys. We've all been on, and
Yes.
we've never been all four at one live stream. I don't think, have we?
True. That's true.
I don't think
That's
the four of
true.
us have. Anyway, I'm Pete. I'm the roaming prepper, and I'm actually an engineer in the energy sector. And I started the channel originally as a hurricane prepper, and then they moved me to the desert where there were no hurricanes, but all sorts of other things happened. Um, I've probably been prepping better part of a decade, and a lot of what I do is travel preparedness. I just my job. I'm in airplanes, hotels, driving in the middle of nowhere, and
Mhm.
it's constantly evolving. And I try to just I share the good with the bad. I'll do
Yeah.
some great videos. I'll show you where I break things. So, but yeah, I'm glad to be here today.
And we all break things, by the way. We do. We
Yes.
have epic fails. Yes. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival.
What's going on, brother?
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And the one, the only, the infamous, but never forgotten and always missed, the Livingston Man. Introduce yourselves and let's get this show rolling.
Well, I'm Mike. I'm one half of Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival. Well, I guess we're the kind of the faces of it. I would say, Livingston Man. Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival is really a collective of the people, and we're just kind of the folks who steer the ship. That's all. We focus on prepping and survival, and kind of current events and the way things may affect us in the future, and how they're currently affecting us now. And that's kind of our skinny. We like to do a lot of gear reviews and tests. We like to test the gear. That's a big thing for us. We love to test gear out. We want to we want to test it until we break it. You know,
Yep.
um, it's kind of our thing. So that's us in a nutshell. Livingston, man, you got anything to add to that?
If you never met or saw me before, you got to understand Livingston Man is not my name. It is my model name. Like there are many Livingston men. Mike happened to find me at a Russian surplus military auction. The reason I'm not with him tonight is I actually had to go back to the lab for firmware updates. So I'm here for a couple days, but we'll be back together soon. I'm his android. He managed to get me to reprogram to be able to speak English, number one. And also, he wasn't so much able to delete the Russian programming as more like suppress it. It's in there, it pops out sometimes.
Yeah, every now and then he breaks out in Russian, and we don't understand him.
Eyes
So
turn red, and it's like, okay, back up. Turn him off and turn him back on again. He'll be fine.
That's it. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reboot him, plug him back in, and we'll see what happens. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In real life, I simply point the cameras at Mike. You saw what happens when he tries to do it himself.
Yeah.
Lucky I'm here, man.
Yes.
My
And just to let y'all,
made it.
yeah, and just to let everybody know, tonight I got to pour my own coffee.
Oh man.
Oh, that ASMR though. Oh, that's cool.
Horror.
The headphones.
Yeah, the COO is studying. She got class in the morning and she has an exam. And I was like, okay, just bring the pot down here, please.
Yeah.
And
Nail it, boss. Nail it.
Yeah,
It's
she
yours.
nailed
You're
it
gonna own
and took Cole upstairs with her. I'm a happy camper. Okay, folks, Bugout Bag Basic Essentials. So let's start at ground zero, guys. What the bag? What kind of bag do we need? Shopping bag? What? Plastic bag? What kind of bag would you recommend?
Roaming prepper, man. This one I want you to take. This is your thing, bro.
the honestly, it's going to vary. Obviously, the backpack is always the way to go. I have seen some people actually use a sling duffel bag, like a crossbody bag, as a get home bag, and on the one hand, that's a pain because your hands aren't completely free, but it looked like laundry. Like if this person had it in her trunk, and I was like, that doesn't look like a bug out bag. That looks like an old folio that has garbage in it. But lo and behold, it was stocked up. But it's going to depend on where you are and what you do. But it needs to be something that you can wear and move with, whether it's a backpack or a sling bag or a crossbody, or even a weird duffel bag. I would not recommend milk crates or anything like that as your bug out holding device. That's
But
not
they're
going to
so
work too well.
stackable, though.
They are. I know. Although
So,
in your trunk you could put them.
yeah. So Robert Bates said the biggest backpack you can carry with a chest rig, waist pack for essentials, should you become separated. Okay. We'll get there. We're starting slow, but we're gonna wire it up, gear it up, and pour in everything but the kitchen sink. Maybe the kitchen sink if it'll fit.
If you want the kitchen sink, talk to this guy right over there.
Yeah.
That dude right there.
That's nope,
he's got
that
the
guy over
he's
here.
got he's got
Captain
the kitchen
Overload.
sink and the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he does the tiles.
That's
He will actually build the entire thing, the kitchen and the bathroom.
correct.
Out of his backpack.
So once we figured out the backpack, and before we start filling it with stuff, how much should our backpack weigh?
So I kind of go with the basic rule of thumb of everybody's different. It's very individual. Somebody who weighs 215, 220 pounds is not going to carry the same load as somebody who weighs 120 pounds. You know what I mean? There's a big difference there in the amount that you can carry. So as a general rule of thumb, I think like 10 to 15% of your body weight is like what you really want to push it. Okay. You guys got to keep in mind that these things aren't really, it's a bug out bag. It's meant to get you from point A to point B as quick as possible, as safe as possible. And you may potentially have to spend the night. So there's, you need the right stuff. You need the right timing. It's a lot.
Yeah. And I weighed my bag. Well, let me clarify that. I'm not bugging out unless my house is on fire or, 2 battalions of ping pong's boys are coming down the hall and down the street. Then I'm going to think about it. But my bag weighs roughly 35 pounds.
Oh, Mushu the Dragon running down Trent Street. That's a sight.
Yeah. And if that's the case, then, the world is getting ready to like die. Everybody. If Ping Pong and the boys come down my street, we're in massive trouble and getting ready to do the next chapter of the Book of Eli. But my bag weighs 30 pounds, and I weigh 215, and I can carry it comfortably. Now, I changed mine from a horizontal backpack to a vertical backpack so I could space out the weight going down my body. For me, that worked perfectly.
Yeah, it's very beneficial when you can get that weight off of your shoulders and distribute it onto your hips. That's really how you're meant to carry the load. And, your hips are a lot higher than people think. So sometimes, initially fitting a bag can be very uncomfortable. But after walking with it and realizing how that weight is distributed, you're going to get a lot more comfortable with it.
Yeah. And that's what I did. I practiced. I did my regular black backpack and stuffed it with all my gear and started walking. And I found myself slumping over to walk to carry it, even though it had waist strap on it and everything. And I was like, I don't like this. It's not that I couldn't carry the gear. It's the fact of how it felt on my back itself. And then that's when I went to a vertical bag. So, folks, it's important on the type of bag you use for you. I mean, For the military guys, they hump 100-pound packs. They do it all day, every day.
Sure.
I get it.
Soldiers are generally expected to carry something like 30% of their body weight, and in some cases, maybe 50. You're not really trying to do that. You're not carrying a tow missile launcher. You're not carrying 1,000 rounds of ammunition,
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Mhm.
If I may, I'd like to point out that the concept of a bug out bag can really mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. It's an umbrella term.
Yeah.
And I think that we all mean like the same thing, but they can show themselves in a lot of different ways. For some person, like a bug out bag is an actual backpack, like you guys are talking about, stocked with goods. You're gonna take off. You're gonna leave. You're not coming back. I saw someone in the chat call that an inch bag. I'm never coming home bag. Whereas a bug out bag, in the catch-all phrase of it, could be a locked tote full of survival gear that's in your pantry. It could be what you put in your RAM boxes in your truck. It could be a kit that's stashed somewhere else. In my opinion, it doesn't necessarily have to refer to a physical backpack that you take somewhere, but more what you'd call a preparedness kit. And it is, if you never take any other steps on this journey, you got to start with that one. Make a kit, a bag, a box, or whatever you want to contain it with, and make a preparation kit. Call it a bug out bag, call it a this, call it a that, but like start there. And if you never take any other steps along this, start there. You'll be better off than so many people.
And
Absolutely.
You touch on an important point, because your situations are different. Just because like my 23-year-old son who's been in the Army 4 years, he can roll with a ruck and a 249. I don't know about you guys, but after 35 years old, I didn't want to roll around with a 70-pound ruck and a 50-pound machine gun.
I'm ditching everything but the machine gun.
Right.
At that point,
Right.
you may as well.
I'll have what I want
Right.
at that point.
But even modular, I know, one of my siblings, my sister, actually worked in Manhattan for years, and they didn't call it a bug out bag when we were younger, but she had her emergency kit, which basically was like one of those zipper totes you use on your luggage in an airplane. But then she had a kit in the office and a kit in the car. She had 3 little kits, and she had that one of those big bougie purses, and she said, worst case, I just dump everything in there and run away. So to lose point, she kind of had multiple kits spread out.
Do you remember the stuff your mom had like in her purse? Like your mom had everything, anything, everything. Okay, like
that's the OG bug out bag, right?
I'm telling you, I've pointed out to people that my 80-year-old mother is probably more prepared than you are, bro.
Yeah.
So in terms
You're
of
probably right, man.
And
yeah,
and then that can even boil down to like a woman's purse. That's just an EDC, and she got like bricks and Glocks and tissues and gum and like what you need, bro. She got it in that purse.
Whatever. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, folks. You have to be comfortable what's for you. You could Google bug out bag and you will get 10,000 different types.
Yep.
Keep in mind, you have to do what's best for you. And an awesome segue, if you were at Bug Out Weekend last year, Mike did a class on the bug out bag, and he's going to do another class this year on the bug out bag, new and improved.
Yes, sir.
This guy here and this guy over here, catty corner from me, we're going to get you to Ohio because, see, like I told Mike, if you bring the Livingston Man, I personally will donate $500 to your MS Foundation.
Boom! There it is, Livingston Man. We're gonna send you in a hot air balloon, bro. We gotta do it real big, big. You gotta.
Now you got money on it. Now y'all got money.
So wait, so I can go on Flight Tracker and see the little balloon icon going from
wouldn't that be so awesome? Just have it dropped in by hot air balloon.
Given the attitude towards balloons these days, I'm pretty sure I'll make it. So that's
Exactly. You'll make it.
Tell you what, I got a Mr. Beast mind with a penny budget. I tell you what, though.
Yep, same here.
Okay, put him in the balloon.
Exactly. Robert Bates said, "Vision preparedness. Aren't there still warrants in Ohio for the Livingston Man?"
Statute of limitations has passed on that, Mr. Bates. I'm sorry. about the
That is
statute of
true.
limitations.
I'm sorry, I don't recognize your authority or, frankly, your existence. So,
Well, my state's about to secede, so we don't acknowledge
Yeah.
anyone.
Exactly. Exactly.
We might take Oklahoma with us because they're upset now too.
Oh,
Yes.
man.
good.
Yes,
The Gadsden
indeed. Jones
Purchase is going to
Truth.
come back together.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Jones
Yeah.
Truth, welcome in. Good to see you. And by the way, everybody that I have not spoken to that is joining us tonight, thank you. Thank you. And I know all of y'all are jealous because if y'all can't see it, I got an autographed can of Spam, the only one on the planet and the only one in this house and the only one that'll ever be in this house from the Livingston man himself.
You know, that's a cooking challenge now. I'm going to have to do the Spam stuffed jalapenos and bacon.
They got the Spam with the jalapenos in it already. So half the
Yeah, but I
work's
want
done.
I want the
Spicy
big
Spam.
one so you can gut it and put all the goodies inside the pepper.
We did, I don't know if anybody caught Mike and
Look at
I's
Mike's
video.
like,
We did Thanksgiving dinner with nothing but canned food and cheap stuff from Walmart. It was good, and we cooked it on a wood stove with like little like fat wood and scraps.
That's
right. Camo Carl asked if any of you made your own packs. I have not because I am not a master seamster like you are, Camo Carl.
Yeah, no. I definitely am not going to attempt to sew myself a pack together. I've seen the stitching I do to try and just like, put a button back on something. It's just not gonna work.
It's
Nope.
not pretty.
I'll just throw the whole thing away and buy a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, if the monetary system is gone, I am going to barter something for something else. I will trade labor. I will trade skills. I will trade materials. But I cannot sew.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, unless you mean like, have we constructed bug out bags? I mean, sure, every one of us probably has multiple of them. But as for actually, like tailor and sew the bag, no, that's out of my jurisdiction.
No, I think the pre-made bug out bags are very, very gimmicky. I mean, it's a great gift for somebody who's very young and starting out because you don't want to invest a ton of money in them. But you really gotta. There's certain gear that you need in a bag, and then there's all those wants the things that you want to put in the luxury items, the comfort items.
And you guys, Mike brings a good point also. For someone starting, it might seem overwhelming. In reality, the first aid kit, well, I got a company kit now because the safety guy is like us, but I actually bought a store first aid kit and then I gutted the bag.
Yeah.
And then I loaded it with what I wanted in there. And then I simply used it as the base for something greater. So, to Mike's point, if someone's kind of struggling, like, I don't know what to do, because I mean, we're talking behind the scenes, like a lot of new young preppers, they can barely afford their rent.
Yeah.
So you give them the bag and say, hey, this does not have everything you need. You probably need these other things, and I'll give you this paper, and you go get them on your own, and they'll evolve over time. But it's not a bad way to start.
True.
For a new prepper.
Yeah, and a great segue to that. If you show up to the Bug Out weekend this year, folks, one of my guys is donating a Bug Out bag fully stocked and equipped. So we'll be giving that away. We'll have more later. But anyway, so let's dive into what goes into a Bug Out bag, get home bag. Let's start with essentials.
Your essentials in any situation ever are air, shelter, water, and food in that order. Now, you obviously don't need to pack air in the bag, so you need shelter, water, and food, or the means to acquire all of those.
Okay, let's dive into that. Shelter. What am I going to do? Put a tent in my bag? Tie a tent to the bag?
You totally could. You could. You could grab a tent. You could grab a good quality bushcraft tarp. In some cases, your shelter could be the clothing that you're wearing. If you're wearing a poncho,
your first level of shelter is your clothes.
Absolutely.
If you can get one of those surplus military ponchos,
Hmm.
because you can live in one of those things
Yeah.
for a hot minute. Not just protection from cold and rain, but you can stretch them out if you pull them apart. At least the ones we were issued at the time, and you can make an awning out of it. So if you're in like out here in the desert, I can tie it to a couple of mesquite trees, and I'm not going to travel in 110-degree heat. I'm going to hide
Yeah,
until the sun goes down, and then I'm going to start moving.
Yeah.
absolutely.
So there are a lot of options
Yeah, they're very
as far
versatile.
as
Very, very
protecting
versatile.
yourself, which I guess,
Right.
as Livingston Man pointed out, is your first layer. It's what physically is protecting you.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. You could put a tent, a tarp, a bivy, just something to temporarily get you out of the elements.
I knew a guy who carried around a big old contractor bag, and he had cut arm and head holes in it.
Yeah.
It came down to below his knees, and it waterproof as all hell.
Yeah.
And it's talk about he could fold it up and put it in his pocket. He could use it as a ground sheet. He could do whatever he needed to do with the thing. And whether you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to live like that or not, it's up to you.
Yeah.
All of this is up to you. My ideas ain't gonna work for you. Your ideas ain't gonna work for me, and vice versa. It's about figuring out your own way. But then once you're committed to it, you kind of got to live like it. So you got to think about it. If you're like, well, I'm going to live in a tarp in a trash bag, then well, you're going to live in a tarp in a trash bag. So
Right.
There.
Yeah.
Run what you brung.
Yep. Ghost Lincoln, be safe, bruh. I
Oh,
knew
yeah.
the tornadoes were heading your way.
Yeah.
Be safe. Text the group. Let us know you're okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. Please do.
Definitely. Okay. So we got shelter. And like you said, contractor trash bags, the heavy
Oh, they're
mill
great.
trash bags are amazing. And
Yeah.
you can use those things for 1,000 things.
you line your
Um,
backpack with it so your stuff stays dry. Your backpack's not waterproof. I don't care what the tag said. It's not.
That's right.
It's not. So you put that stuff in a big 6 mil bag. Forget about it. Whatever. Throw your bag in the river. Fish it out downstream. You're fine.
Then you can ride it down the river.
Exactly. Okay.
Flotation.
Shelter. Now we got that. Food. What am I going to do? Stop at Kroger's on the way to bug out and buy some
Well,
steaks?
Best
obviously,
case scenario.
if at
I
all
mean,
possible, yeah.
You
yeah.
could.
Well, they're still open. Well, I'm pulling in.
Exactly.
For packing in the bags, I tend to go with freeze dried food. It's the
Yes.
most lightweight, nutrient dense food I can carry, and
Mhm.
I personally feel that freeze dried is the way to go. Some granola bars and things like that too. They're great to stuff in your pockets and little
Yep.
pockets
Mhm.
here and there.
Yeah,
You
little
can
high
fit a ton
calorie
of
snacks. Yeah.
Yeah, you fit a ton of them in
Yes.
there, especially if they have honey in them. Ed just said the SOS bars; those are great too.
Ooh, the
Yep.
coconut
And
oil. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
anything you can shove in your
Yeah.
pockets and kind of crunch on it. If you're stuck out there, you're stuck out there, and anything's a good treat at that point.
Yep.
But
Correct.
now, of course, now freeze dried food, Mike, relies on a rather important thing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does kind of segue for you pretty good there, Vision. I think that
Yeah.
because you're gonna need some water, and that's gonna be an important one.
Yeah. So how much water? Now I got to tote water too. Put water in my backpack.
No,
Yeah,
not
Water's heavy.
necessarily. If you either have to tote it with you, your choices are tote it with you, hope you find it, or be able to gather it and transport
Right.
it.
Okay. So if I find it, which happens to be a creek, and now I'm gonna get to run as soon as I drink it.
yeah.
Yep.
You're
You're
probably
gonna have to.
gonna
You're gonna have
want
to find a way to filter that puppy. Yeah,
You're
for
gonna
sure.
want to
Okay.
filter it. You're gonna want to boil it. Be safe. Be
See,
safe.
and you
Okay.
guys, I have a unique situation because I lived in Louisiana. I lived in
Mhm.
South Texas on the coast. Along by Houston. There are bayous and streams everywhere. I
Mhm.
literally can look at a map, and the only thing I can find are cattle watering holes out here, which are not awesome if you can find them, and
Mhm.
if the pigs don't run you away from them. So you have to understand your geography and where you physically are,
Yes.
because I've had to completely change the way I prep because I have filters. There's no river here. There's no water. It's
Okay.
brought in from a distance, so you have to factor that in. If I go to the field here, I actually will buy a case of water. The company pays for it. I throw it in the back of the truck. I
Absolutely.
Mhm.
have an empty bottles in my get home bag, in my bug out or whatever, my truck bag. But under the assumption I'm going to have to fill those on site because there's nothing I'm going to find within an hour of any direction. So
Right.
understand where you are, because up in the Hudson Valley and the Adirondacks, the Appalachians, you can find those little fresh springs.
Yeah.
Ohio's full of them. This part
Mhm.
of Texas, I got scorpions. That's
Wow.
so.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
see
So
how,
water.
this is a back to, our situation is not Pete's and vice versa. Like you really
Yeah.
need
Yeah,
to know,
It varies so much from person to person.
it
Absolutely.
does.
but
But
what you
but you
we use
go ahead.
Grail. We use Grail water filters.
Yep.
You can.
Yeah, they're
I
fantastic.
bugged a guy out one time. His toilet was clogged, and I walked in with the Grail and I dipped it right in there and I pressed it and I drank it and I was like, "What's the problem?"
He freaked out. Did he die or have a heart attack or what?
But that's how good these things are. Literally,
Yes.
and now you always want to, if possible, pure like pre-filter and boil your water. Failing any way to do either of those, you fill the container, you press it down like a French press,
Yeah.
and you got pure
Mhm.
water. It's not
It's not just a filter; it's a purifier.
Yeah, it is. Right. I love my Grail.
it's
And
the
it's
only way to
hanging
go.
on my bag.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's the only way to go. I don't use it. I'm not gonna use it like a canteen. I
Right.
carry it in the bag empty. That's for
Yep.
emergencies.
Yeah.
God forbid I have to urinate in it or something, like,
Yeah.
but that's what really is. That's a last ditch.
Yeah. So with the water, whatever you carry, whether it's an Nargene bottle or whatever, you also need to make sure, folks, that you have a way to purify and filter water you may have to source from somewhere.
Boiling water is a surefire way to make sure it's clean. It's going to at least kill anything that's in there as well. You get it
Right.
to a good roll and boil for a couple minutes, but you'll want something like a piece of cheesecloth or something to use as a pre-filter. You want to get any dirt and
Mhm.
like
Right.
sediment out.
The bulk stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another great bug out bag item right there. Not necessarily cheesecloth, but one of the overlooked things is the cotton bandana. The cotton
Mhm.
bandana is extremely versatile in your bug out bag as like a screen, a pre-filter for things like that to take out all of the large sediment. Um, you can, it's a million and one uses for one of those things. If
Yeah.
you have to turn it into char cloth, do it. I mean, if you have to use it to sling your arm up, or even bundle up firewood to carry that, whatever you
Yeah.
do, guys.
You need a bandit mask. You got to do
Come
sketchy shit. It's cool.
That's right. Exactly. Carry a net gator. Same thing.
Mhm.
Same premise.
The
Actually,
person who
coffee
just commented,
filters,
the person
little
just
paper
commented about
ones.
bugging out with 4 kids.
Yes.
You got your work cut out for you there.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna depend a little bit on your kids being a little bit educated as to the concept of what's going on here,
Mhm.
or you
That
might
was
consider
Crystal.
bugging in.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
That was Crystal talking
Yeah,
about,
that was
okay,
Crystal.
side note, how do I
So
bug out with 4 kids?
to Crystal's point, my kids had 2 in elementary and 1 started junior high when Hurricane Ike hit Houston, knocked the power out for 2 weeks in our subdivision. We were fortunate in that it was an old Cold War era subdivision, and we actually had our own water well and treatment within the middle of the subdivision, the way they used to build them back then. So we had potable water, but no power, no AC.
Mhm.
But I had both boys in Cub Scouts, and the girl was doing this FFA thing. So I basically said, we're going to be camping in the house. So you can introduce some of the preparedness concepts as camping in the house, as, oh, it's blackout time, here's your glow stick. And they'll go off and do kid things while you manage
Mhm.
business. Kids get it.
Yeah.
I was shocked at how quickly during Hurricane Ike my kids picked up on what was going on and started participating.
Yeah,
That's
that's
great.
such a great point. The
Yeah.
roaming prepper. If you can, if the kids are young enough and smart enough that you can make it like a game for them, um,
Mhm.
Mhm.
they're going to be a lot less uneasy seeing
Yeah.
some of the things that they see, because it's
They'll have done this before.
Yeah, and it'll all be over soon, and the game will be over, and then everybody starts putting everything back together again.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even my son, who is off in college, I gave him a get home bag. And I said, you went over everything in the bag. I said, you keep this under your bed in your dorm and you don't touch it until it's necessary. And I put everything in there, ham radio, this, that, and the other, and explained all of it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, bring it home during spring break. He brought it home and he forgot to take it back with him.
Oops.
He's back.
But that's okay, because Dad's coming to get him no matter what, and I'm taking it to him next weekend. Put this back under the bed. Yeah.
Well, what you can do too is the first thing you should do is, okay, how far can I digress here? Now, Pete, we were talking about how pre-made survival kits are an easy way to go.
To start, yeah.
Right, yeah, okay, but at the same time, every, whether you're talking about Les Stroud or all the Bear Grylls, all these cool survival guys and all this stuff, they all say that those kits are not great. What you're going to want to do is put together your own kit that's specifically made for you. And depending on what you pay for one of these things, you might be ending up with an inferior product and so on and so forth. With the kids, it's pretty simple to do, as Pete said also, is just introduce it in a controlled, like non-catastrophic way. And the experience, I would rather hire a guy who did a job once than hire a guy who never did the job before. So experience speaks for everything. Just having done something once means so much more when you actually have to do it for real. So when you get yourself a bug out bag or a kit, whatever, what you can do is take it out and play with it. And you should, because you don't want to be that guy pulling stuff out of plastic wrapping and boxes while there's an emergency happening.
Yes.
And you also don't want to find out that's when you find out that it was junk and it broke. So like to bring all that together, it's, take your stuff out and play with it. Bring your kids with you. Go camping. Set it up in the living room, the backyard, whatever. But if you don't get used to using the stuff, when it comes time to really need to use it, you may find yourself at a disadvantage.
So one thing I did with the Cub Scouts, which is funny because out of that little group of like 9 Cub Scouts, I got 3 West Point guys came out of there. So, I mean, these were phenomenal kids. Families were great. Is I had each of them make what I called to them your emergency kit. Now, these were Cubs, right? These were little guys, not the full-blown Eagle Scouts. So I went and bought, this stupid little, it's tactical little black thing with a clip that supposed to go on your belt that none of us would use other than maybe to hold, a lighter or something. And I had all of them. I put glow sticks, a little itty bitty first aid kit, a little flashlight, basically a little assembly line. And I said, everyone put one of each in your bag, and that has to go everywhere with you. And you lose points on the next whatever competition if you don't have your emergency kit. And had a whistle. And so you can start like that. Have the kids build one with you. And just make sure they have the really rudimentary things, a light, a little water bottle, whatever.
Yeah.
And they'll get into it. The kids will eat stuff like that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And education's the key to it. They don't know until they know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And folks, we're talking Bug Out Bag Basic Essentials. And we got to pay some bills. And I got an exciting thing for everybody. So just sit back, refill your coffee cup, and watch this short clip. Hey folks, Vision Preparedness here. I hope everybody has an amazing day today. I just want to take a moment to talk to you about Bug Out Weekend 2024 in Dayton, Ohio. The date is set, that is May 16th through the 19th. We're going to have more people, more classes, more of everything, folks, because the world is becoming more Mayhemic. You don't want to miss it, folks. We're going to have some amazing instructors, some amazing courses taught, and some amazing conversation. Make sure that you are there, folks. More details to come, as well as open registration, and we will see you at the Bugout Weekend, May 16th through the 19th in Dayton, Ohio. Take care and God bless. Hey, also folks, at the Bugout Weekend 2024 will be the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off Challenge. Folks, all of you grill masters, all you camp chefs, all you bushcraft cooks, folks, come on out. There's going to be a challenge for a cook-off to beat VP. If you win the first level, you go up against me. Bring your best, bring your attitude, and bring some fun. Folks, you can register for the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off. When you register for the Bugout Weekend, you have to do all of it at once. When you register for the Bugout Weekend, no exceptions. Folks, we're going to have a great time, some great prizes. And if you win the Bushcraft Hiking Cook-Off, then you get the chance to go up against me, VP, folks. So bring your A game, folks. I've been challenged. I've had a bunch of people tell me they're coming for the title, but guess what? Here's all I can tell y'all. The champ is here. The champ is here. We'll see you at Bugout Weekend 2024. Take care, folks. God bless and stay safe.
Ooh-wee, let's get it on. Let's go.
The champ is here.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it
Man.
first. Registration, folks, is opening up in 3 weeks. When you register for the Bugout Weekend, which will cost you $0, you can also register for the Bushcraft Hiking Cookout. It's going to be awesome. Y'all better bring your A game. I have been personally threatened by a
You've got
few
challengers in the chat right now.
Oh,
I know.
They're
I
talking
know.
all
I know
sorts of
exactly who they are. I know who they
I'm
are.
going to tell you from experience, you start talking about food on one of these things and the chat just goes crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's over. We're on
So-
spam. We're on spam for the next 25
Yeah, there
minutes.
we go.
Well,
Might as well
preppers
just-
like snacks.
Don't
I
worry, I'll
mean,
field
All
your
I can
question.
say is bring your A game, because I ain't playing, y'all. And
ain't
like
playing.
I told those that have threatened me, I said, to get to me, you got to win the challenge first. You got to win the cook-off.
I love how he calls it
Then-
threatened and not challenged.
Yeah. I mean,
They-
literally, these guys have been threatening me.
They want to
Dan
step.
H.
Oh, they're going to learn. They're going to learn
Yeah.
today.
Dan H., I appreciate you, my brother. Bugout Weekend, bring on my vacation. I appreciate the donation. And y'all know we will never ask for money. We'll never call you, text you, or show up at your house. But we appreciate all donations.
I will
Bro,
show- I will
any of you guys here could
I-
show
I
up at
will
my house anytime.
show up at your house. I will send you mail. I will call you on the
I will
phone.
send you mail.
Yes, all donations go back into the channel to
Oh,
bring
man.
more content, more great events, and all of that. Thank you, Dan H. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, I've been threatened. I literally have was like, really? You?
Oh, all right.
People take this
All
food,
right.
this
Yeah.
food stuff like real serious.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Right, Livingston, man. I'm
Your
sitting there like,
cockroaches want to get crazy? Okay.
Okay.
Check out my little friend.
Go
let me
Pelican.
introduce you to my little friend.
Tell 'em.
Absolutely.
Living in fear from these jamokes.
Fly,
that be
Pelican,
hitting me.
fly. Yeah.
Okay, we're off the
Daggum
rails.
flamingos. Yeah, we just went
Folks,
off the track.
Details more. Bugout Weekend registration will be opening up in 3 weeks, and y'all can do it. We're going to have some amazing time, and I'm looking forward to be it bigger and better than it was last year. Okay, so we talked about food. We talked about water. We talked about shelter. What else do we need to put into our Bugout bag?
Okay, so Mike and I were talking about redundancy when it comes to some things. There's a couple
Okay.
of things you actually need multiples of.
Yeah.
The two off the top of my head are knives and flashlights, illumination.
Yes.
You need a couple different ones because they serve different purposes, and some are too much and some are too little, and they have a purpose. And yeah, so flashlights, for instance, you want a one you can wear on your head so you can have hands free.
Wow.
You want a small one that's in your pocket or whatever, you can point it at stuff, and then you want like a real deal, like I'm gonna light it up over there. What they doing over there? And the same goes for knives. You want a little one that you can do silly things, cut shoestrings with, whatever. You want a big, fat, ugly utility knife. You're gonna beat this thing with hammers and shit, you know. And you might want, as far as bladed tools, maybe a hatchet, machete, or possibly an actual fighting knife, depending on what you think you're coming up against.
Exactly.
But they all have different purposes and different sizes and shapes, and that's for a reason, because they're for different things.
Right. Ghost Lincoln, bruh, thank you for the donation. He said, for the bug out weekend, now I'm going to the weather prepping. Be safe, all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ghost. Be safe.
Out there.
And I'll be talking to you later tonight.
That was
But
awesome.
yes, redundancy is important. You talked about knives, whether it's cutting or for security. We haven't even talked about stuff for security yet.
Right.
But yes, multiple knives is a good thing. I personally would probably throw a multi-tool into the bag.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Without a doubt. As my dad used to say, every man should have a pocket knife in his pocket.
That's right.
Yes.
He always carried a pocket knife.
If nothing else, that's your last ditch defense, if nothing else. But
and electrical tape. Don't ask.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm always hurting myself.
Yes.
We actually used electrical tape to keep detonators on dead cord. I kid you not. They were like, the crimp didn't work. Give me the electrical tape.
Everybody points to duct tape, but I really like your point there. And electric tape is also a great way to bandage wounds. You work on job sites, you know that's how.
Oh,
that
yeah,
works.
yeah.
Well, you know what else for your, if you're wearing like a harness in your backpack, you got all your goodies and your stuff's jingling and jangling, your battle rattle, you can tie that puppy up so you're not getting hung up in the branches or clanking in the woods.
Straps hanging
especially
everywhere.
those straps that always come undone. You had them rolled up so nice, man. You got them rolled up on the bag so nice, and they're perfect in there. And then as soon as you get going, that thing's like 3 foot long, like a tail coming out behind you. You know, it's
the wind's blowing like.
That's what the electrical tape is for, man. Zip ties have a place as well. Zip ties.
Devil Dog talking more smack. You got the
Marines. And the only reason he's talking, that smack is because he gave me this Gerber multi-tool.
The Gerber multi-tools are great. I have a SOG. I don't know what it's called. It's a SOG EOD tool. It has a blast cap crimper on it, which I don't have any freaking use for. But it's got it's got a seatbelt ripper. It's a pair of pliers. It's got this, that, the other thing. It's super great little tool. You're not going out and doing construction work with the thing when you're like, oh, I need to cut this wire. I need to do this thing. Like a multi-tool is also essential. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yep. How about a compass?
Depends on whether you know how to use it. Everybody, you know what? Because everybody's like, oh, there's north. I'll go that way. What is north exactly? Where are you going?
They don't factor out magnetic.
Right.
Right. Then you have magnetic versus true and every other thing.
What about maps?
Maps and compasses you should absolutely
know
how to use.
Know what a map is anymore.
You mean that Google thing? Is that
No, it's not that. It's not that phone that you got in your pocket, Livingston. Man. They used to make maps out of paper back in our day.
There you go.
Oh, look at that. He's pulling out these relics. Oh, my God. Is that an atlas? Good golly.
I got so many.
What is that?
Plastic.
That is... Ladies and gentlemen, this is the epitome of preparedness right here. This is why Pete puts the out in bug out. He gets it done.
Yes, he does.
This is the result of getting lost a lot as a young engineer.
That's how it's done. Man.
Hey, go to those when you're on vacation visiting bug out weekends. Every state you go through, stop at the first visitor center and ask them, do you have a state map? And chances are you'll get one for free or for $1 because it's state subsidized because they want you to spend money in their tourist sites.
Oh, yeah.
And then you stash it away and then send one of your kids to do the same so you get 2.
Yeah.
and just do that through all the states. I mean, you guys coming from New York to Ohio, well, no, you go through Pennsylvania and that's it. No,
Yeah, just a tiny bit of Pennsylvania too, man. I
Yeah.
took the full New York State tour, like, all of it from like almost Connecticut all the way across to Buffalo and then south. Oh God, it hurt my soul, bro. I was driving to New York forever. It was like pothole city and
Ugh.
dirty, and it was
Buffalo's
Right.
Buffalo's nice people, but the town is not a
I
happy
just
town.
drove right on by.
That's
Yeah,
Hockle country up
yeah,
there.
no, that's where the Witch of Buffalo
In
lives, man.
Buffalo.
We don't go there. We just
We're not
drive
welcome. We're
around.
not welcome
Hey,
No,
there.
I
no.
live in the only state that you can drive for 16 hours from Tyler to El Paso and never leave the state.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There's a reason Texas considers itself a country, not a state.
Correct.
Yeah, it's the
That's right.
size of one. No, it's the size.
Right.
It's bigger than a lot.
You talking about the Republic of Texas, are you?
Oh, yeah.
I'd
It's
like to
bigger
hear
than a lot
about
of
it, New
European
Yorker.
countries.
Yeah.
A lot of European
Well,
countries.
don't forget, I grew up there, so to me, this was like, wow, there's a lot of flat here. It's like where the
Yeah.
So what is I heard you Livingston man say flashlight. What's the hype all about a headlamp?
Hands free. You
Okay.
can use your hands, and whatever you're doing, you can illuminate whatever you're looking at without the use of your hands.
So white, red, both? Who?
I would recommend one that has multiple colors, and
Yeah.
the colors are actually used for different reasons.
Red.
A plain old white light is for general use. A red light is for trying to preserve your night vision. Other people
Yes.
will still see your red light, but it's
Right.
not so. If you were to turn it off, you wouldn't be so blinded like you were if you just.
Okay.
Blue lights are for typically medical use, and green lights are for reading maps. If you have a green light, pull out a actual topographical map and turn the green light on, and all the features on the map will jump out at you.
Now, keep
Gotcha.
in mind, if you're colorblind, and no joke intended, but if you're colorblind, you're going to have to factor that in
Also,
on the type of light
Right.
because it's like the red and the green wire. Don't cut the wrong one. You want to be able to read that map accurately, so you may want to get a monochromatic type mat. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but something that factors in color blindness. The ladies don't have to worry about this, but the guys do.
Right. Yeah. And from what I understand, I remember reading about that where it said 75 to 80% of the men in the country are colorblind.
Really, I didn't think it was that high.
It was high. It did. They showed a number like 75%.
but we're doing pretty. I'm pretty sure I'm not colorblind.
I'm not. Right.
No, I'm
maybe
not.
maybe
I'm not either.
I think
I-
it may be
I
15%.
definitely,
Could
when I look
be.
at a rainbow, I see the Roy G. Biv. So I
Yeah.
think I.
Every time I look at a rainbow, all I see is Skittles.
I mean, if I'm right here, let's see. Pete's headphones are red.
Yeah.
Mike's background is blue,
Blue.
Yeah.
and Visions has got a tan. He's wearing I think that's a gray hat and shirt.
That would be true.
All right. So
Okay, so you think I may need something like this in my bug out bag to look and see what I see?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
This is a monocular.
Certainly does not hurt to be able to extend your vision, especially when you're unsure about what's ahead. It's
Right.
very easy to stop and look and wait a while and just kind of see what's going on up there. If you see something that makes you uneasy enough to stop, you should probably scope it out for a while.
No, I have in my truck, because sometimes the map or directions I get, I'm here, production platform is over there, and there's cattle between us, which clearly I cannot drive through. So I actually have a rangefinder, Sig Sauer rangefinder. Those can cost you a little. Another thing I won last year, Trent. I was on a roll last year, but
Good Lord.
but it'll give me feet or yards distance from A to B, which doesn't hurt if I'm trying to get a range on something. Because if I'm, for instance, not just for shooting, if I'm with someone who's hurt and I look and I'm like, that's 500 yards. Can this person make 500 yards, or do I need to camp out here and let them rest? and then proceed from there, or just understanding how long it's going to take. But those come at a price point. A good pair of field binoculars, what, shoot, 40 to, you get really good ones for 100 if you want to go that high. But
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a little pair of I think they're 12 by
yeah,
32, little like
the little guys.
yeah, they
Yeah.
have like just basically two tubes with a bar between them.
Mhm.
But
Right.
12x zoom, I can see what's going on over there.
Yeah.
Like, and they're small. They fit right in your pocket.
So you don't go
Right.
bebopping into something bad.
Right, or you're
Exactly.
just like, well, what they doing over there? Is that house got lights in it? I don't know, whatever. Like, it's a great idea to be able to see a little farther.
Right. Okay. That's so we got food, water, shelter. Let's touch on security.
Well, I think what we should first touch on is you better be putting some extra socks in there, or you ain't rolling with me.
Yes.
That's right.
Understand that. So
Yeah.
ideally, you want to change your socks. You want to change your socks once a day. All right. You got the ones on, you want to be able to put another set on. They're going to get
Yeah.
funky, dude. You're going to get nasty. You're going to
Yeah.
get wet. But you cannot do that, because if your feet don't work, you don't work.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
Vet Prep says there's serious tornadoes here in Ohio now. Lots of
In Ohio going on. Yep. Lots of
Wow.
damage and injuries. Yep. Vet Prep, it went north of us. I was actually watching Ryan Hall before the live stream, and that's why Ghost Lincoln left for his area.
Well, I hope
And
he's safe, man. I hope everybody's safe.
my phone text messages have been blasting in forever. And Dan H, by the way, Mike, just sent me a picture of the new 24-ounce titanium grail.
Mine's on its way.
Mine too. But yes, everybody in Ohio, please stay safe, because there are massive tornadoes and thunderstorms and all of that going on. But to your point, Livingston, man, yes, change your socks. If you don't have decent feet, you're not going too far.
Oh, and there's things you can do. Like, say you're limited, but you can take your clothes off and shake them out, turn them inside out, shake them out. Maybe even just rub them in sand or whatever, and put them back on. But the idea is some semblance of hygiene. You don't want to be just living in your own self.
Yeah.
For months.
And it's funny. My get home bag in my truck is actually underpacked. Like, I can pull this, those retention straps.
Yeah.
Still add puff it out, because there's stuff in my truck that I'm going to put in the bag.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless I'm being chased by a zombie right then and there, I'm gonna have 3 or 4 minutes to grab stuff and stuff it in there. But I have an extra pair of boots, or actually it's an old pair of sneakers that are still good, that I can tie off to the back of my bag, and you can swap footwear.
Absolutely.
And it's not that heavy. You already own the sneakers, when they kind of don't get something with holes in the bottom, obviously, but
good trekkers.
Yeah.
Exactly. Camo Carl said, I've seen a lot of brand new gadgets and gear ditched after rookies hump a pack a while.
100%.
You get that. That's why we at Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, we stress, take your gear out and get a feel for it. Test it, check it, play with it.
Practice.
Because the last thing you want to be is in an emergency and be like, yo, I gotta leave half this shit behind. What then? And you don't want to find yourself in that position. You need to, while there is no emergency, test and use your equipment now and become familiar with it and get how it works. And what it's going to cost you physically to move it around and have it,
Yep. Little lone prepper. That's a great point. I think, taking stock of places where you could seek shelter. If things weren't so good and you just had to pass through an area where you could, sleep for a couple hours and then get on your way again. I realize that folks aren't looking to take over these places. Nobody's looking to do damage to these places. We're simply just looking for a safe place to, catch a couple winks and move on.
I will do damage to your house. I will live there.
Right. And Coffee, to answer your question, no, the storms are to the north of us. The tornadoes were to the north of us, but I am in the basement, and everybody else in the house, I think except for Cole, are in the other room in the basement watching TV. So, you'll hear Cole falling down the steps or trudging down the steps if he decides he needs to be down here. But we are safe. Everybody's safe, and
Good.
everybody stays safe. Okay, footwear, shoes, boots, extra pair, extra socks. It doesn't hurt to pack an extra pair of long johns, skivvies,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
you know,
boxers, skivvies. Yeah.
Any
boxers,
kind of
underwear,
undergarments, man. You gotta.
undergarments. It doesn't weigh more than what it does, so put an extra pair or 2 or 3 in there.
Yeah, drop double seal them, and even
Yes.
Ziploc bags or something. If you really want to get
Yes.
into sonic welding them and food sealing them, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that's
But
my
you-
method, man. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
My issue with that is that's all well and good, except that like if they're resealable, okay. If they're not,
Yeah.
I got no use for it in the field. I break it open and I'm done. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
When it's time to change clothes, Livingston, man, it's time to change clothes.
yeah, but what about the ones I was wearing? I burn those for firewood, right?
Yeah. Well, you figure by the time you get to those, if they're in the Bugout bag, the ones you're wearing probably so funky, you might want to throw.
They'll probably burst into flames anyway.
Yeah. They just get up and walk away when you take them off.
Get back here, pants. Hey, I'm done with you.
Right. So, speaking of, and I'm going to touch on this. We haven't mentioned this. We talked about the freeze-dried food and water. What do we do if we're out long enough and we're hungry?
I'm going right to, if possible, if I have a water source, I'm going to try to fish.
Okay.
Because I think that's probably the quietest way for me to gather food. A little splashing on the surface of the water right by the shoreline's not a big thing, but the sound of a firearm in the woods is very, very loud. So that's something
Yes.
I would look to avoid, especially if I'm just looking to pass through A to B. I will catch a fish,
Right.
clean a fish, eat a fish, and be out.
So how are you going to eat the fish? You eating it raw? What you going to do to cook
Oh no,
it?
I'm cooking. I'm cooking them.
Okay.
I'm cooking them.
Well, you could go the sushi route, man. I mean, if you really had to.
Yeah, you can go
Yeah.
sushi route.
I
Well,
I don't
shouldn't
know if
kill you.
I don't know if the sunfish I'm going to catch are exactly sushi grade.
One thing, yeah, my kids gave me this for Christmas. This is a wood burning stove.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
cool.
It just all sections together, and you
Yeah.
source natural firewood and start a fire.
Yeah. I think honestly, in an SHTF environment, I think a lot of us are going to be eating soup a whole lot more than
Yeah.
we thought.
Yes.
Or
So,
beans out of a can or something.
Yeah,
like that.
man.
Yes.
If you're looking for the whole amount of that fish, you want a pot that's big enough that you can just boil that fish until the fish turns into a stew by itself, because you ain't got nothing else to add to it.
Correct.
When
So-
you're hungry, I promise you, your standards will be way lower than you think they are now.
Mhm.
I won't eat that. Yeah, you will.
Yeah,
Then
you
you'll
will.
get creative too.
Yes.
Be like,
yeah.
that acorn,
Yeah.
Yeah. Crack that bad boy open and boil them, and you will eat them. Yes. Absolutely.
You've been hungry, you ain't eaten nothing real in 3 days, and somebody starts cooking sardines, bro. You're gonna smell that and be like, "Give me some."
Oh
out there."
yeah.
You
it
know.
is.
Yes.
And if it gets that bad, we're all going to be in scavenger mode too. Not that we should go raiding people's houses, but
Right.
you're going to see that burned out store, or,
Yep.
abandoned store. You're going to go take a peek. You just,
Yeah.
to the point earlier, in Houston, we went by what used to be a shopping mall that apparently with our new DA down there, it's now all boarded up. My wife said it looked like The Walking Dead, but one block.
Wow.
Don't
And,
open dead inside.
you could go in there and the buildings were intact, but you also got to make sure, and that goes back to the binoculars, check the building for something in there. But even vending machines having a good tool, like we were talking earlier, you bust into the snack machine, hell, even a Coca-Cola, there's sugar and
Oh
water,
man.
that's some
Yeah,
carbs
Yeah.
there.
absolutely. Especially if you've been going for a while with nothing to drink and you're getting to the point where you're like super dehydrated and you're beyond the cakey mouth and you got the crusties on the sides,
Mhm.
Yeah.
This
It's-
guy's
it-
comment right here.
cracky.
He said avoid the roads, and I remember trying to tell Mike that, and then we ended up getting ambushed by goons in the woods because we were walking on the road.
Well,
Yep.
some folks just won't listen, Livingston man. Some folks won't listen.
You just can't reason with everyone.
Right. Right. So what else should we have in our Bugout bags.
First aid kit and a decent one.
Yeah,
Probably should have been higher on the list.
Probably.
Actually.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're kind of
Absolutely.
taking the zigzag route tonight, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Because
You guys are writing this
conversation in the
down, right?
chat's great. Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you
Be a
know, a
pop quiz
tourniquet.
at the end of the live stream, you know.
Yeah, scary.
Yeah, tourniquet, a good first aid kit, folks. Multiple tourniquets, actually. My rule of thumb is you should have at least one tourniquet per person in your household.
Oh, and the TSA will let you bring a tourniquet through security.
Okay.
Very cool.
Because
That's
I
good to
actually
know.
did an Israeli a tourniquet. I
Mhm.
actually have them in my bag right now. They were
Mhm.
actually shocked. They opened. They're like, "What's that?" And the other guy looks over his shoulder and goes, "That's a tournament, dude." And then he
It's a
says,
tourniquet, dude.
"Aren't you supposed to have one in your bag?" And the first guy looks at him and goes, "We are."
Yeah,
guy's like,
go
"You
ahead
can
and
go,
zip that
sir.
back up, partner.
You could go,
America's
sir."
first line of defense, guys, right there.
Vision's
But they
got
took my knife.
the flashing lights.
Oh, he's
Uh-oh.
got.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
No bueno.
What time is it? It's 9:00.
Oh, damn.
Okay.
Yeah, but homie is.
I'm
he's
glitching out on everybody's end too. Me too.
Yeah. On
Vision's
on
getting
that,
a blackout. Mike's
folks,
becoming a
here's the
chupacabra.
thing. Here's the key. Food, water, medical, shelter, security, and anything else you may need for your family.
Amen.
Yep.
If you can carry it and you will need it, put it in your bag.
Absolutely.
I what Mike carries, I may not. What Livingston Man carries, Pete may not. I guarantee you, if we all bought our bags up here and took everything out of them, we all would not have everything identical in
Absolutely.
the bag.
No.
Yeah,
And we shouldn't.
The fundamentals would be there, but the actuality of it would be different, just because of the situation, you know.
Correct.
If you tried to plan universally, if you think you're gonna you plan for everything, I hope you got a semi truck or something to carry this all around with you.
Yeah.
So it's about slashing Occam's razor. I don't need it. I don't want it. It's how you got to be, because you are the one that's going to be responsible for moving, carrying, protecting, and maintaining all of that stuff. The less you have, the easier that becomes, because you're already going to have enough problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, I hope this has helped. Mike, Livingston Man, Pete, I want to thank you guys.
Thank you for having us, man.
Oh man, I'm almost to the point where I think we need to do a part 2.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, this easily could have gone 2 hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Absolutely. And I would like for us to come back and do a part 2 if possible.
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, guys. Folks, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. I just need you to do me one thing if you have not.
That like button, baby. Do it.
What he said. YouTube hates all of us, all 4 of us.
Yeah, especially when they put all of us on the same stage together. You know this is suppression station.
That's a motley crew right there. And
yeah, do what you can.
It is. Smash the like button. Also, if you mind, share out the video. That helps with the algorithms. Subscribe to these guys' channels, please, if you have not.
And
I've
especially
seen my moderators.
to Vision Preparedness' channel too. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, man. He's the real deal.
Stop hiding your true self. We know you're here. We know you're watching us. And then I go to your profile and you don't share these videos. You ain't living this life in public. What you scared of? Tell your friends and family you're like this.
Hey, us
Bring them with
conspiracy theorists are up like 156 to 1 right now. So
nothing to be afraid of.
That is true. We are.
We need to get Livingston Man on that little AM station south of Lubbock, man, because they'd love to listen to him.
There you go. There you go. Work on it. With that, folks, I want to thank everybody. And remember this. Keep on prepping, because your family depends on you and it depends on your life. Vision Preparedness, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival, the Roaming Prepper. I'm going to let y'all have the last words before we get out of here.
Tell them, Mike.
Stay safe. Keep doing the things, man. Go practice with your survival gear. You are going to bet your life on this stuff someday. you better know it inside and out.
Go play with your stuff.
Do
It's
the
fun.
things. Do the things.
And start with basic, small. If don't spend a bunch of money, none of us have. Start little bits at a time and add on. Ask questions. Everybody in the chat would love to answer questions.
Yeah, I might have something I can give you. Come on.
Same here.
Take the jump.
By the way, also, if you show up to the Bug Out weekend, there is a free table that is going to have massive amounts of free gear on it.
Yeah,
If you
I'm bringing
need
half the
something,
bed of the truck for the free table.
yes, please do, because I'm not taking all that stuff back home.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Trent. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
That's great. Yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
Mike. You and Mike go way back, but thanks for having me on the separate like this. Sorry we couldn't be together, boss. The firmware updates, they telling me like 24 more hours, dude. We plugged into some shit. I can't even move. I got to wear these things. My ears don't even work.
As long as he doesn't speak French at the end of the upload, we should be fine.
If I come out of this speaking French, deactivate me, please. Okay?
Pull the plug. Yes.
I'll not be known as the Canadian, okay?
Yes. Everybody have a good night. Guys, hang out for 1 minute, and we will see you in the next video. Vision Preparedness. Everybody have a safe evening. God bless and take care. The time is now.